Just who or what is S.W.O.R.D. anyways? Welcome back, Nerd Squad! For those who have since been introduced to the S.W.O.R.D. organization via WandaVision Easter eggs, S.W.O.R.D. is an organization from the comics that handles and monitors potential cosmic threats to planet Earth. Like S.H.I.E.L.D., but way more zoomed out, in terms of what their jurisdiction is. S.W.O.R.D. stands for Sentient World Observation and Response Department. Today we're going to be doing even more than just scratching the surface when it comes to exploring who this organization is and their story as we count down the top 10 S.W.O.R.D. facts you need to know. Alright, let's get counting. Number 10, first appearance. S.W.O.R.D. made their first appearance in 2004's Astonishing X-Men in issue number 3. We only get a brief glimpse of the division, seeing only a few of their agents in the issue, the most important one of course being Abigail Brand, who we later learn is the head of S.W.O.R.D. We learned that Nick Fury and Abigail Brand are attempting to keep the division a secret from other groups like the X-Men when Scott Summers, aka Cyclops, comes to confront Fury about S.H.I.E.L.D. tech that he and his team found Mercs wielding. Fury pleads the fifth, but it's later revealed that he's working with Abigail Brand to keep their operation super secret. Number 9, division of S.H.I.E.L.D. So if it wasn't obvious with that first appearance, it's later revealed that S.W.O.R.D. is a division of S.H.I.E.L.D. However, S.W.O.R.D. hasn't always been as closely regulated as some other divisions, and are even now more considered to have been started by S.H.I.E.L.D., but are greatly independent in modern comics. It's S.W.O.R.D.'s responsibility to handle the more spacey side of keeping Earth safe, watching over it from their orbital station, and greatly focusing on any incoming threats from space. The divide between S.W.O.R.D. and S.H.I.E.L.D. became more prominent once Fury stepped down as director of S.H.I.E.L.D. during the Astonishing X-Men run. From there, it's really just gotten bigger and bigger over time. Number 8, WandaVision. S.W.O.R.D. has made a recent appearance in the MCU, with them being a known part of the new Disney Plus series, WandaVision. But what do they have to do with Wanda? Well, we don't quite know yet, but we have already seen their symbol pop up a few times in the new series, and we're only a couple of episodes in. Spoilers ahead for the rest of this point, so if you haven't watched and you don't want to hear these spoilers, then just skip past the rest of this point. Just go to point number 7. You can scrub through to that because, yeah, spoilers. We see the S.W.O.R.D. symbol appear on a toy helicopter that is also in color, while everything else in the episode is black and white, that Wanda finds in one of the bushes on her front lawn. This seems to indicate that S.W.O.R.D. might be trying to get through to Wanda. Though why the very spacey organization is involved with someone as magic-based as Wanda, that kind of remains to be seen. Where are Wanda and her version of Vision here? And why is S.W.O.R.D. seemingly trying to get through to them? Seems kind of a little out of their jurisdiction based on what we know of them from the comics, to be honest. The other moment we see the symbol happens near the end of episode 2 when Vision and Wanda hear something outside and wander outside to see someone climb out of a manhole cover dressed in a beekeeper outfit, surrounded by a swarm of bees. Wanda, of course, gets rid of this by just being like, no, and then rewinds everything. But what we do see when we see them is on the back of their suit is a S.W.O.R.D. symbol. Now, this could represent a war waged between AIM and S.W.O.R.D. perhaps, that Wanda got caught up in, that her consciousness is trying to remind her about. Or it could be those two sides trying to somehow battle to get through to her, with AIM being a more evil organization who generally dress like beekeepers, and S.W.O.R.D. symbol being present, and them being the more heroic of the two. Or it could have something to do with the villain Swarm, maybe? But what does he have to do with S.W.O.R.D.? I seriously have no idea. So far, we know that Agent Jimmy Woo, Darcy Lewis, a grown-up Monica Rambeau, perhaps as Photon, will be returning in WandaVision, and it's believed that they'll also be working with or potentially as a part of S.W.O.R.D. And friends, before we move on to this next point, if you are enjoying this video and you want to learn more about S.W.O.R.D. and other cool spacey stuff, make sure you show your love by giving this video a thumbs up. Number 7, the Peak. The Peak is the name of the space station that S.W.O.R.D. occupies and also is its headquarters. We've seen the Peak a few times in comics and got to take a peek inside it on more than one occasion. See what I did there? See what I did? While the style of comics change, so too does its interior, but all in all, the over layout remains generally the same, with there being cabins on board for each member of the team and being different rooms on the ship for different departments of S.W.O.R.D. who tackle various different kinds of problems. Most recently, in the second volume of S.W.O.R.D. out of 2020, we've seen each division of S.W.O.R.D. and their respective room get their own color associated with it. It's pretty cool. It looks pretty good. I like it. I'm not gonna lie, I'm enjoying this new S.W.O.R.D. volume so far. It's only been a few issues, but I'm liking it. Number 6, Undercover Agent. When S.W.O.R.D. first started, one of their agents was actually working undercover. Surprisingly, the agent was none other than Kitty Pryde's pet and partner, the space dragon alien known as Lockheed. Lockheed, for those who are unfamiliar with him, found Kitty Pryde while she and the X-Men were trapped on a Brood-colonized planet known as Sleaze World. He decided to return with Kitty to Earth after saving her, and was considered a war hero in the fight against the Brood by his own people, known as the Flock. Kitty evidently felt very betrayed when she learned that Lockheed was an undercover agent for S.W.O.R.D. who was feeding the agency intel on the X-Men and the going-ons at the X-Mansion. Aroo! Number 5, Peepers! I'm so excited about this. Way too excited. People are going to be like, Amanda, why'd you make this a point? But I'm excited. You know I can't have a list about S.W.O.R.D. facts without mentioning the fact that my boy, Peepers, has finally resurfaced and is getting a role of his own on Krakoa, although he now goes by just Peeper. He's dropped the S. No more working at Ravencroft for Peepers, I suppose. Or maybe he just juggles both of these things, or is just going to be their like undercover agent there once the world is back to normal. Only time will tell. Peepers is not actually meant to be part of the new main S.W.O.R.D. team, which will once again be led by mainstay leader Abigail Brand, but is actually supposed to be part of her sub-team or extended team, working beneath one of S.W.O.R.D.'s main agents as S.W.O.R.D.'s visual analyst. Although we don't know who that main agent is yet, so right now he's kind of part of the main team. Number 4, S.W.O.R.D. 2009. While S.W.O.R.D. was first introduced in Joss Whedon and John Cassidy's astonishing X-Men run in 2004, the team wouldn't get their own series until 2009. The S.W.O.R.D. series ended up being kind of a mini-series, ending after the 5th issue due to a drastic drop in sales from even issue 1 to issue 2. S.W.O.R.D. Volume 1 was written by Kieran Gillen, with Steven Sanders on pencils, Craig Young on inks, and oddly enough, the amazing Matt Wilson on colors. Due to the fact that Norman Osborn was in charge at this time, Henry Peter Gyrick was appointed Abigail's Brand co-commander of the organization, chosen by Osborn himself. So Abigail kind of had to share command, which I think kind of dampened somewhat what fans were hoping for this title, as Brand then kind of spent more time trying to fight to get things done within the organization as opposed to really running it. The original team featured Beast, Lockheed, Sidron, Spider-Woman, Death's Head, and Cecilia. Number 3, The Inbetween. During Cable's current 2020 series featuring young Cable, we actually got a glimpse into what has been going on with S.W.O.R.D. since the end of their own series from 2009 and even beyond that. The last we saw, they were being overtaken by symbiote-possessed Brood, who were hoping to infect Deathbird and her unborn child for their own reasons. I believe that was back in like 2015. This threat was defeated by the X-Men, but we hadn't really heard from S.W.O.R.D. since then, as that story happened in 2015 in between series. Since then, apparently S.W.O.R.D. had not been heard from, and in Cable, we found out that this is because sometime after the station was overtaken by an alien race known as the Viscora, who are obsessed with cleaning the universe by destroying life forms and absorbing all the knowledge, assimilating it in essence. Jean Scott and Cable were able to defeat the Viscora and reclaim the station to use in the Otherworld tournament as part of the Ten of Swords event. At least, that's how it would seem for now. We'll have to wait to see and make sure that the Viscora are truly gone for good. I personally have my suspicions. I'm keeping an eye on Jean and Scott. I'm just saying, if you read this issue of Cable, you know what I'm talking about. That all happens in issue number 5 if you want to read it. Number 2, S.W.O.R.D. 2020. The newest S.W.O.R.D. series has just started, so time will tell how it performs, and it's also a great time for you to jump in, but hopefully it does well, as I am honestly enjoying it quite a bit so far. The newest run of S.W.O.R.D. is part of Jonathan Hickman's Dawn of X line and features mainstay leader Abigail Brand once more heading the team. Although I believe believe the series is written by Al Ewing and not Jonathan Hickman, just so you know. This time around, Abigail Brand gets to lead by herself and do everything 100% her way, without any of the involvement of a rival co-commander. However, S.W.O.R.D. is now a completely mutant team, and as such features a totally different main roster than the previous series. Not only that, but people actually have titles to denote exactly what their position within the organization is meant to entail. Cable is the Director of Security, with Random and Risque as his sub-directors. Frenzy is Ambassador Extraordinaire. WizKid is the Station Technologist. Fabian Cortez is listed as Executive Producer. Also, I love Fabian Cortez in this series. Manifold is referred to as the Quintessian. Peepers, or Peeper, is referred to as the Visual Analyst. Armor is an ambassador in training. There's also a teleport team which features among its members Blink, which I'm super excited about. Peeper would actually be working, as I said earlier, under someone else as part of like a sub-team, but his commanding officer seems to be MIA in the records. I don't know what's up with that. I also love that Abigail already has a list of replacements and alternate first picks for almost everyone on her team. She's like, I couldn't get this person, but I got this person. I'm just gonna like make the best of it. Number 1, Abigail Brand. Abigail Brand is the main leader pretty much always for S.W.O.R.D. She is both a mutant and an alien, and is also a complete badass 100% of the time. Her mutant ability appears to have to do with hot glowing hands, which can burn through most materials. Sometimes they glow red hot, other times they go blue hot, but it's yet to be specified as to if this means they're kind of like different levels of heat, or what exactly that does mean, if it means anything. Abigail Brand also has a special tongue which allows her to speak most alien languages that others cannot. She and Beast had a pretty long-term relationship, and the two were even thinking of settling down together for a time. Since her first appearance and her return as the head of S.W.O.R.D. in the newest series, we've seen her character design change quite a bit. But I gotta say, I'm digging this new look for her and her new team, and their new book. It's all really good. You should go read it. There's only, as of right now, there's only 2 issues as of when I'm recording this. Who is your favorite member of S.W.O.R.D.? Are there any agents of S.W.O.R.D. that you hope will see introduced in the MCU alongside the team in general? Let us know in the comments below. I also have a theory that some of the people trapped in Westview alongside Wanda and Vision could potentially be S.W.O.R.D. agents or even mutants in WandaVision. Let me know your thoughts on this theory, and if you want a list to, I don't know, maybe expand on it even further as we try to suss out just who the residents of Westview could really be. Are they someone else that's been manipulated? I think so. This has been Top 10 Nerd, and I'm your host, Amanda McKnight. Till next time, you stay nerdy, YouTube.